Alright, so today we're going to be putting some fractions together, and we're going to use some fall stories to help us practice putting and using fractions and putting them together. So let's get started with our first story. The first story says, the neighborhood pumpkin patch had a successful business this season. They sold 2/5 of the pumpkins the first week and 3/10 of the pumpkins the second week. What fraction of the pumpkins had they sold at the end of the second week? Alright, so the first thing that I need to do is I need to jot down some information regarding how many pumpkins they sold. So before I flip my camera over, I'm on my paper going to write the number 1 like first, and I'm going to jot down 2/5 because that's what they sold the first week. Underneath that, I'm going to write a 2 for second week, and I'm going to jot down 3/10. Now that I have that information, I'll flip my camera over so that we can all see what it is that I've written down. And so this represents the amount that they sold the first week. This represents the amount that they sold the second week. And we want to know how much they sold at the end of the 2 weeks. So what are we going to be doing? We're going to be putting the 2 weeks together. So the first thing that I would want to do when I'm thinking about putting fractions together is setting up my problem. I'm going to set up my problem over here on the right. So we have 2/5, and we're putting that fraction together with 3/10. I notice that I do not have common denominators. Since I don't have common denominators, I'm going to need to find that now. One of the easiest things to do is to take the smallest denominator name, like 5, and see if I can count to 10 so that I only have to rename one of my fractions. So if I count by 5, will I get to 10? 5, 10. Yes, I will. So over here to the left, I'm going to write the fraction 2/5. And I want to find an equivalent, which we know that if we just increase it by 2 or double it, we will get a new fraction name of 4/10. And if I wanted to make an EFT, it would be the same thing. Now that I have a new fraction name, or an equivalent fraction to 2/5 called 4/10, I'm going to rewrite with new fraction names. So I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to take my 4/10 and I'm going to write it right underneath 2/5. And I'm going to drop 3/10 down. There's no need to rename 3/10 because now I do have common denominators. Now that I have common denominators, I can put these together. 4 plus 3 is 7/10. Remember, you do not add your denominator, you only add the numerator. And I have to quickly think, is this answer in lowest terms? Well, one quick way to figure that out is to think about the factors for both. If I think about my factors for the number 7, they are 1 and 7. Those are the only two numbers that will give me and that will multiply and give me 7. When I think about the factors for 10, I think about 1 and 10 and 2 and 5. And since when I think about simplifying, I have to find a common factor, the greatest common factor. The only factor that I see that they even share is the number 1. Well, if I were to divide the numerator and the denominator by 1, I would end up getting the same number. So 7/10 is my most simplified answer. It is lowest terms.